New York today is often referred to as the safest big city in America, but not that long ago, 40 years ago, New York City entered into a period of fear and violence and racial hostility that was really unprecedented in terms of the history of the city. The Savage City tells the story of three main characters. George Whitmore, a 19-year-old black kid who gets framed for a horrific double murder that he didn't commit. Bill Phillips, a police officer, a notoriously corrupt police officer, a member of the NYPD, and Dhoruba bin Wahad, who was one of the founding members of the Black Panther Party in New York City. These three men never met, but their lives, their stories crisscrossed over similar subjects of race and criminal justice in the city, and in fact their destinies were shaped by each other in ways they never could have imagined. Okay, right here is where the story of the Savage City begins. This is the precinct that George Whitmore Jr. was brought to on a night in April of 1964. George was a young 19-year-old black kid, not terribly well educated, simple-minded, you might say. He had offered some information to some police officers in the street about a crime that had taken place in the area, and they said, "That's interesting," and they brought him back here to the precinct to question him. And he spent the next 24 hours in here being interrogated by police. And before they were done with him, they got him to sign a 62-page confession to a series of crimes, an assault that had happened in this neighborhood, a murder that happened just a couple blocks away from here, and more importantly, they got him to confess to the Career Girls murders, the notorious murder of two white girls on the Upper East Side of Manhattan. In the summer of 1968, the NYPD arrested 21 members of the Black Panther Party in a series of early morning raids around the city of New York. They were brought to this courthouse right here in 1968 in what was called the Panther 21 trial. The trial lasted 2 years. It was the longest criminal court proceeding in the history of New York State. But when the jury deliberated, the Panthers were found not guilty of all charges in a mere 90 minutes. Okay, this building right here is where the Knapp Commission hearings took place in October of 1971. The star witness was a police officer named Bill Phillips. Bill Phillips was a notoriously corrupt cop who had been a corrupt cop throughout his whole career. He got caught and he was compelled to testify against his fellow officers at the Knapp Commission hearings, which were run over a series of days. They were televised live on TV in New York, and they created quite a scandal, the biggest scandal in the history of the New York Police Department. Just below the surface of this safe city is this history of trauma and racial hostility that's very much a part of the city of New York. It's in the roots of the city, and it's still with us and still affects daily life in the city today.